Hey, welcome, sexy souls. All right, we're pulling some cards to see if there's a message today. Um, if you're sticking around, awesome. If not, have a fabulous day. Friendly reminder for those who are sticking around: you are a sovereign being of your life. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why any of these messages might apply. My recommendation is to never Cinderella it to make it fit. Okay. I decided to go and get like the diesel grade coffee from the gas station today because it's like I need it. I need a whole system reset, if you feel me. It shall be an interesting day. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm liking this. It's talking to me. Travel lightly. Simplify your life. Uncovering treasure. There's a trash can. Um, there's something tangible about this. I do feel like there may be a level of unburdening. Okay. Meaning, like, it really does feel like getting rid of unnecessary junk. Um, I'd like to say it's metaphorical. I think that they're being more literal, honestly. Kind of like, uh, there may be a few expectations you got to toss because it's kind of like those expectations might be holding you back from taking this path. However, okay, this is feeling very much like there's a you may have items that hold energy and memory from periods of time in your life that it's better just to get rid of. Okay. Um this feels like insignificant kind of items that you think, "Okay, that can't really be whatever." But it holds a density. Um, and it's kind of like, don't take that wherever you're going, or don't take that into the future. Just go ahead and get rid of it. I do feel like I got to be honest with you. It feels like there very well may be trash that needs to be gotten rid of. Um, You know how, like, sometimes when you're about to like, when you're moving and so you're packing up and you see all the things, you're like, "God, why do I even still have that?" And you end up tossing a bunch of stuff because 'cause you're like, "Why would I even take" like, it's nonsensical stuff. It's not necessary or pertinent to where you're going, what you're doing, anything like that. And it's like in those moments you realize, "I've got a lot." And you think that you've cleaned the house and you think that you've kind of, like, lightened the load, and then you really haven't. That's what it feels like. There is a tangibility of lightening the load with junk. Um, Uncovering treasure, though. It's almost as if beneath the surface lies great bounty. Two things. For somebody here, I feel like as you're doing this, you're going to find a few things that have been missing. You didn't know were missing, um, that are very valuable too. Um, like the definitive things you do want to take forward that have been lost in the sauce, so to speak. I also want to say that when you get rid of a bunch of junk, and they're keeping me very grounded in reality with what I'm saying. So there's something to that. Uh, there's this energy of finding something more valuable, and I don't know if it's kind of like once you lighten your load and you get to start to move, evolve, or go along that path. It's kind of like that's when you uncover something. You're gonna uncover something. It feels very tangible, like as I'm sifting through things and getting rid of them, I uncover a couple of things that within it actually create bounty. Like, dare I say, it would be like I'm gonna toss a bunch of clothes and I find money in it, right? Something along that where it feels now it's not necessarily just that, but it feels like there's something there more valuable than you realize that you're meant to discover while discarding the shit that you shouldn't have. And then at the bottom of the deck is begin now. Take your first step. So let's find out, because I actually think you're meant to discover something in the process of getting rid of some stuff. This very much feels very real. Okay. Even if you're like, I'm not moving, there's something there where it's kind of like, you know what? You know that you accumulate junk. You know that you accumulate something. You're meant to find something. What if it's a piece of paper? You know what I mean? For a life insurance policy that you used to have on yourself. I ain't saying nobody's croaking. I'm saying like one where you're like, I could cash this in. What if it's a ring that has been missing that has a lot of positive energy to it? You know, like there's certain talismans where we're like, this really that are imbued with certain types of energy and whatever else. I'm not going to get too woo woo on it, but like you noticed that in your life when you had it, life went better, right? Something like there's a treasure to uncover, and I think it's something very tangible. It feels very tangible. Because you know, my brain goes, oh, we could also go here, and they keep pulling me back down and grounding me into reality. And so there's this thing of begin now. This could be I'm going to empty out all the junk out of my email as well. Like I'm simplifying my life. Like, you know, I can't ever find anything because my email is always, you know, and you find an email that has something to it, right? Um, where you're like, it's a very valuable either piece of information or something that, you know, you miss that's very valuable and you're like, oh my gosh. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, get started on this now. But this is very tangible, action oriented. The idea of it's very pentacly. It's very earthy energy. This isn't etheric. This isn't mental. This isn't emotional. This is tangible. Okay. Give me a minute. Okay. Well, I'm not grabbing this, but you know, it fell out. It's the King of Cups. King of Cups does talk about compassion. Sorry, I saw a bird flopping around outside. I was like, what's going on here? But he scooted out of the way where I can't see him now, so I don't know what's going on. King of Cups can be like, you know, trusted advice. It can be I can't pull it out my ass. Sorry. Like they cut me off. Like it went blank. Right in the middle of me trying to. I'm like, okay. So. All right, give us some clarity about what you're talking about and what you want people to pay attention to, and specifically where they need to lighten their load, how they can simplify their life. Release. Well, no shit. All right, Captain Obvious. Archangel Azrael. The end of a phase or situation. There's some kind of transformation happening. It's time to move on. Okay, we get that. There's some kind of like movement that needs to happen. There's certain things that you need to take care of in your reality in order to aid in that. And in the process of doing such, so you will uncover something. And they're like, this is not to him and haw. Start right now. Righty then. The Emperor. Organization, structure, discipline. You need to get things organized. I do feel like in the tangibility, we are talking about even like not just home stuff or with the vehicle, but like maybe bills, like I said, your emails, your things to make it ease of access. I just heard check all your emails. Three of Wands. Things looking very good. Making long-term plans. Ships are coming in. This is all about preparation for the long haul. They're asking you to do this because it's preparation for something. I feel as if I was about to say, I thought my candle went out, but it didn't. You can't see, but look, there's the thing. But like, sometimes I pour the wax out and it's just all up here and it won't melt it. I'm like, melts. It won't melt what's up on the sides anyways. So I had to twist it just to see if it was still burning. Whatever you uncover in this is going to help you with the move. It's almost as if like you have the resource or you have the means for something already. So if you have a stack of shit that you've gotten in the mail and you think you know what something is, you need to open them up. You need to actually open them up. You may already have something that you need. Hence, organizing, going through things, throwing things in the trash. Be careful. Make sure that you know exactly everything that you're throwing away. It feels like an entire haul. Like an entire haul. Like condensing, organizing. That's the Emperor there, bringing structure to something. Something about organizing all of your things makes it easier to execute something. This could even be, I don't know why they're showing this. It could even be something to the extent of like, in the process of getting your life house in order, right? You come across the items and the things that you would need to go back to school. I'm not saying you are. Some might. And in fact, maybe you aren't aware at this time. It's not even on your radar. But in organizing and like, creating, like getting rid of all the junk and creating some kind of like filed system, you know exactly where everything is for when the moment arrives where somebody's like, hey, like, I know people, I have my master's. I have several uh, uh, friends slash colleagues that have gotten their PhD. They will look at me like, why haven't I'm like, well, for what reason would I want to, you know what I mean? Um, if any one of like, I could only imagine like one of them being like, hey, I got this thing happening and this would be a great project for you to do your PhD, or, there's a scholarship happening for single moms. You might want to, like they do that shit all the time. They be dropping hints and saying stuff. And I'm like, and I appreciate the fact that people think that I'm intelligent enough to do that. And they think, well, why wouldn't you? That's just not, and I'm like, I don't have a draw. But anyway, I digress. Like, could you imagine like being like, oh, and then like, I don't know, a wild hair gets up your ass and it's like, right? And now you can access that stuff real quick. You're not like scrounging on a time frame to try and get something together. Things like that. There's a treasure you're going to uncover with this. um and can I say, they are now saying, not only are they telling you to get started on this right now, but the begin now means it says take your first step. Whatever you uncover gives you the leverage to take the first step towards something. Again, I mean, anything to like, you uncover money that allows you to make repairs to your home because your home has a leak up in the roof and it's causing health issues for people in the home, like like it's like you, whatever you find lets you start something. Okay, okay, okay. And so it's kind of like, yeah, get rid of the shit that you don't need, like really do a haul, like a haul in your home. If you have an office somewhere for business or work, that's included. If you have a vehicle, that's included. Okay? Okay. Let me just tell you, for somebody who likes to sit awkward and weird all the time, the amount of space that they've got for me to have my legs go under there, like I can't like sit on my leg and I can't like do weird seated positions because they give me this much space. But you see me struggling. I just thought I saw a bug. It was not a bug. It was a juniper berry. All right. Okay. So something gets to wrap up, and it's kind of like it's dual. It's time to get rid of certain things. And look, we all do this where we're like, I've done that a million times before. And the shit that we accumulate after we've done clean some things up, and we're like, are we serious? And again, like, you may have done this before and you'll go back through and be like, why did I keep this the last time? Because now you're finally ready to get rid of it. That energy is unnecessary. So, yeah, like it's kind of like that. This serves a dual purpose. It makes it easier to take action. One, because you've lightened your load, and two, you've uncovered something to help you take a first step. It's already there. That's a takeaway. You just need to find it. No, not yet. Dang, where are we going with it then? Hermetic Tarot saying something to me? Chariot. Definitely gonna, it gives it make it fuck me. It definitely makes it easier for things align, so that you can take, so you, I'm about to crap a brick. Okay. Chariot. Things align. Definitely gives you the ability to move forward. It's as if a missing puzzle piece that you've needed this entire time. Um, you know those movies where like if once you put the missing puzzle piece, all the cogs start. That's been a theme here lately. Like the cogs and the wheels start, gears, whatever, start moving and everything. It's like everything can kind of move forward now. Because it's like a domino effect. Somehow the other pieces fall into place, or the other things that need to happen fall into place when you're able to make that first move, when you're able to take that first step. You were just missing the piece that allows you to take that first step. This also feels like we do have a travel thing here. So this could be travel, especially since it's a chariot. Let's pull some more cards and see. Justice. Ooh, 2 major arcana in a row. Book goes back up. This is the one that came out. King of Pentacles. This also feels like whatever first step you take kind of like helps to inform you. Again, I said things fall in place thereafter. It's like all you needed was the first step, and then things just kind of align. Because I'm getting like clarity with the sword coming up here. And it's kind of like it made it a little ambiguous as to the exact path. Because like, sometimes we can kind of see multiple avenues to do something. And in the trying to, but which avenue you end up taking kind of depends on that first step. So there's something about there, like the path becomes very clear. It seems to narrow it down. Things get balanced out. Something doesn't. Justice. They are bringing me. They're bringing me to. I get something legal from this, and I don't know if this is like legal documents. Again, something as simple as like a life insurance policy that you used to have on yourself that you can cash in. That happens. Like you can get certain things, and if you don't want it anymore, like whatever you've put in, you can kind of cash out a certain amount kind of thing. Like that would be a legally binding kind of thing. For somebody here, I won't say this is very big. Somebody, you might discover something within like a legal realm, contract, documentation, something like that. They're bringing me back to the mail that sets you up. The idea is the King of Pentacles has the means and the ability necessary to create the life that he wants. Um, he is set up financially. He also knows what to do with the money. So, like the money, the means, the whatever it is, it also aligns things so that he can make moves. Very well for somebody here. You really need to pay attention to the paperwork as you're going through stuff. Um, you know, Low hanging fruit is like I'm not gonna go to the extent where like people are like, you have an inheritance waiting for you and somebody stole it. Can I just say if that's the case in this scenario, you've had the documentation all along, so you're just as culpable because, like, if you'd have paid attention, you could have gotten what was owed to you. You know what I mean? It's like whatever this is seems to be within your possession somewhere. And so, but it seems to be something that you weren't aware of. Um, Again, I'm not like, oh, somebody long lost passed away and owes you money. But there may be something here where you're like, it could be an investment you had a long time ago, and you're like, or you a settlement. I don't know, a settlement or something. It's large enough of a thing, or again, like I said, like you're like, if I just had the funds to do X, Y, and Z, and you come across an old piece of jewelry you thought you lost, and it's like, I can get money for this, and I'm able to do this. Oh, like what if you need to file for bankruptcy, right? Um, but the whole reason you need bankruptcy is because you're really poor. And you're like, I can't manage these funds. I don't have enough left over to even pay for bankruptcy. And I don't know enough of what I'm doing to do it on my own. But even then, I still don't have the $300 for it. And all of a sudden, this piece of jewelry that you don't want nothing to do with, and you're like, oh my God, I'm perfect. You sell it, you get the money, you're able to file for bankruptcy. That too. You see what I'm saying? And in freeing up your financial status, you end up like other things can fall in line then. Like getting a new place or being able to move into a new apartment or whatever, get a new lease because now your finances are looking good because you had the bankruptcy, things are wiped, all that kind of stuff. So it's something along those lines. There's something there, okay? And again, don't underestimate the places where you might find this. They're giving me in the mail, because this is a wide thing. Mail. There could be something about your email. It's hidden amongst a lot of stuff. And there's something about you cleaning things up and organizing it and getting everything like this would have been necessary anyways if you had the leverage to take this first step. So it's kind of like, let's go ahead. Like you're doing two things at once. Because again, like had somebody, like let's say you magically found a wad of cash out in nature or something like that, and you're like, oh, now I can do this. Well, once you initiated that first step, you're like, oh man, I gotta do all of this stuff though. Like I gotta get things in order. And so it's kind of like you're gonna have to do that anyways. Like it both are necessary. So it's like if you go gunning, dare I say, if you attempt to go looking for whatever this thing is and you like hone in on all the paperwork and hone in on just your emails and hone in on like moving things around in your closet to try and find that, you won't be able to find it. There's something where it's like in taking care of all those things, you find, I don't know how to say this, you find something in doing some of the random things. So think of it like spring cleaning. We're like, everything's got to go, and so you get it out, and in the process, it's kind of hidden in that way. Again, if you go gunning to find something that you're like, okay, I should be able to find something to set me free for the whatever. Somehow the way in which you start looking for it will have you missing it, and you'll get so frustrated because I've looked everywhere. And it's like if you just take the goal of I'm going to clear things out and I'm going to consolidate and I'm going to organize and get it's like getting your life in order. That's where you come across it. And dare I say, they keep giving it to me like it feels like this isn't like a month long process. this feels as if you could get started on this and within a weekend stumble, like, you know how, like, ADHD, we get wild hairs up our butt. So there's the blip because at the very last second, because it only records for 30 minutes, irritates my soul. Irritates my soul. Anyways, so this there's a process to this. Um, don't try to shortcut it, but also, like, once like, okay, I was giving the example of, like, when you're in ADHD and you're like, I've got all energy in the world, and, like, when I say you might take apart the kitchen because you're like, I'm gonna organize it, and then you get towards the end, you're like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, you had all the energy at the beginning of it. You see all those memes and those videos where people are like, yeah, this was me when it's kind of like that. It's like, as you're going along, I'm not saying you're gonna, like, putter out, but it's one of those things where it's like, how it looks like a little bit like you might be dismantling things. But the goal is to kind of, like, get it organized. I don't know how to explain it other than that, and that's when you stumble across it. So, but they give it, like, you could, like, this, like, it could be a weekend project. That's how quickly you could find something. And it's like, only when the goal is to get rid of shit, that because that causes you to have a discerning eye. Right? When the goal is, I need to chuck a bunch of shit, you're going to be very careful about what you're chucking. You know what I mean? Like, you're actually going to look at it and kind of, like, really get nitty gritty detail. That's why we putter out. Like, when you have ADHD and we start these projects, because we get into it maybe more than other people just dump a whole bunch of stuff in bags. This is real, like, organizing, figuring things, that kind of stuff. So, it will give you. Yeah, you're just it's that kind of discerning eye where you come across it. It's with that type of detail. So take that how you like. And let's finish this off. Dang, Emperor. Yeah. I'm seeing a garage for somebody, but we have the page of, this is like documents, potentially contracts, documents, paperwork, communications, heavy emphasis, okay, on things like that. Dare I say, why do I keep talking like that? This feels a little bit like maybe they do not want to toss out the idea of, like, finding a piece of jewelry or blah blah blah, something that's worth value. What if you find something and there's paperwork with it where it's already been appraised and things like that, and you're like, I know you lying. Or let's say you you bought a old piece of furniture at, like, some antique place, and, like, in cleaning that, like, pulling everything out, you find it's something like that. Um, because again, we have the emperor in the center, which is the organizing, the structuring, the preparation, the getting things ready. That something of value is uncovered. That is your key to unlocking the door for something. I'm leaving it here because we can go about this a million different ways. But if you have watched this, you just need to get started on this. We don't need to hem and haw and discuss it and dissect it. This is perfectly clear what they're saying and instructing you to do. Um, they tell you how to approach it. Like, you are trying to really discern what is appropriate to keep and what is not. So you need to look at every detail, everything that you're touching. It's not just about going through and tossing shit. Um, because some things are going to be beneficial for whatever path, whatever you're trying to start, whatever you're going to initiate. And so they don't want you tossing everything, but there are some things. Um, have that discerning eye where it's like, is this really necessary? Why did I keep this last time? Why do I feel the need to keep, like, does this have any kind of heavy energy with it? Like, what kind of nostalgia is this? Is this just me hoarding? Like, are you doing the whole, well, maybe one day, kind of thing? Again, there may also just be something, again, where in doing this and things that are not valuable to you end up being valuable to somebody else, and you get money for it. Okay? Okay. I do feel like this is achievable this weekend. So I'm gonna upload this bad boy like right now because it's Saturday. But at any point in time when you get this, whatever this weekend holds, you can achieve this within a weekend. You can find this, you can start this. It doesn't mean like as a whole month long haul. I don't know your home though. So, or your office or your vehicle, whatever. So, just do what you will with this information. Good luck. And go ahead and get started now. Have a great day, guys.